We take freedom for granted. But I always tell people, like, go to hospital. You're gonna appreciate, like, when I had my ski accident, I was 6 months in the hospital, 13 surgeries, almost lost my leg. When I end up in a hospital around people, then I appreciate my health, and I was always grateful for everything I had. But I never say thank you to my body. For the last 8 years, every morning, when I pray to God, and I also just appreciate take my body for being for heart pounding. Same thing, freedom. Go to jail, end up in jail, and then we take the freedom for granted because what I mean, it's we have it, you know, and it's very important.
Hello, I'm John Brink, and we are podcasting on the brink from downtown Prince George, British Columbia, Canada. And for all those people watching us from around the world, Canada, they say, okay, we know where Canada is. And then British Columbia on the west coast, right? Right. And then we have this big city called Vancouver. Well, yes, we are 500 miles north or 800 kilometers for our friends in Europe north of Vancouver, in a place called Prince George, about 80,000 people, about 120,000 in the region, and lots of forest, lots of nature, black bears, grizzly bears, caribou, deer, moose, wolves, and you name it, we have it all here living in harmony. And today we have a very interesting guest. His name is Jarek Tadla. And Jarek is a real estate investor, passionate advocate in mental health and awareness. He's the owner operator of People's Choice Apartments. Jarek has grown the real estate empire to one of the largest singular owned real estate building companies without investors' equity in the country. We'll be very interested how he did that. And he started
Perfect.
from very the beginning, was a dishwasher at one point, and then did the American dream, starting from nothing, having a dream, and then building it up. And Jarek, welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for being.
So you had an interesting beginning. Tell us about where you are from originally, where you were you born, your training. You obviously started as a dishwasher. How did you do all of this as a singular owner in particular is a bit of a challenge to say the least, and
Yeah,
share with our viewers from around the world.
yeah. I was very fortunate. I came to the United States at the age of 21. I moved from Poland. I was born in Poland, and at an age of 3 days before my birthday, 21st birthday, my parents won green card, so I came to the United States legally as a child. They won the green card lottery, and start my journey. I always want to come to the United States. It was my dream for years to come. And when I came here, I didn't want to go to waste. And because my godfather was in the restaurant business, so immediately I got a job as a dishwasher. From then, I promote fairly quickly to busboy, waiter, cook, and then server, restaurant manager, and I was doing the cars. I was buying and selling cars. After I was going through college. I graduated from college, and learned the English because I did not speak any English, and doing the on the side. My side job was doing cars and selling my cars for like five, buying them for like 5 grand, selling for 6 grand. So I figure if I do this on the $5,000 car, what if I do this on the real estate? 50 to 60, so a little bit more. Little did I know, this becomes my American dream, because I moved here when I was 21, and at the age of 28, I retired. First time, owning, hundreds of units. So, and it was a one conversation that changed my whole life. At that time, when my girlfriend family was speaking, and they said, I was doing my cars, and I had a real estate in my back, my like, the seed was planted. But then the one conversation happened, like, they have 4 units. property and they live in one and rent the other three, and those people, the tenants pay for the mortgage, and they barely pay for any expenses. So I'm like, that's it. I
So
drove home, no
what
regret.
location was that, Jarek? Was it in?
At that time, when I moved to the United States, I lived in Rochester, New York. I went to
Okay,
sunny Brockport, and my whole family live upstate New York.
okay,
And I started looking for when I had the conversation, I started looking, where do I want to live? I knew I didn't want to live upstate New York.
right.
I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it. Everybody in Rochester, Rochester is I think third city in the nation that got the least sunshine, and everybody complain about the weather. And
Yeah,
believe me, I didn't want to So I knew. So I started looking for places to live, and because I was thinking about real estate, Denver, I moved to Colorado because of the number one. I was a skier, and they have so many sunny days, and the property taxes are very cheap,
yeah,
and
and
that's how
it's
my journey started.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
in '96, I bought my first fourplex.
okay,
I bought my first fourplex. I live in the one of the units, and I have a full time job. And then the four units, then the next fourplex became for sale. So I bought that one. At that time, it's funny. The first fourplex I bought was $50,000 because I had no idea. I didn't know anything about the game. The second one I bought, it was owner occupied. So the program at that time was FHA program. I only bought it with 3 grand. So it was $200,000 second fourplex, $300,000. Then I bought the third one, and then I sold all three fourplexes. Went to 10 units. One fourplex bought me 10 units, the other one 14 units, the other one 17 units, and from then it was just a journey. You know, 5 years later, I retired with all my.
right. So, so, where were you born in Poland? Was it Warsaw or where?
I was south near Krakow. I was in Zabrze, so it's
Okay,
Śląsk, so it's a south part of Poland, and I live in there since I was born till 21.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so you were 21. When was that that you left Poland?
It was April 16, 2000, 1993.
1992. So
Yeah,
that
1993. So I was 20. It was right before my birthday, 21st
okay.
birthday. So I qualified so my parents can get me.
And your parents stayed in Poland, or were they already in the United States?
No, no, no. My parents, apply like every year we try to, because my father was in the United States in 1980, and then the system in Poland broke, the Solidarność and the whole,
Right.
communist. Yeah. So my father moved back, and then for years and years we would try to come to the United States. So they apply for the tourist visa, or also they apply for the green card. And in 1992 they won the green card, and we went through the process. And in '93 we moved, all of us. My brother didn't qualify because my brother was over 21, but me, my mom, my dad, and my sister was younger, so we both qualified out there. As a child of my, I think my mom won the green card, and so we both came. We all came.
So the critical age was 21. If you were older than 21, you would not be qualified as a
Yeah,
child.
21. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's why my brother didn't qualify. I did. So
Right.
and that's how
S-
the journey started.
Yeah.
And you know, I I always want to come here. And in this country, like, I appreciate this country so much, being immigrant. And I knew it's not gonna go to waste. And I from the beginning, I surround myself with the good people. I have good guidance, and the self improvement, self work, and real estate pay for it. Definitely,
Yes.
find
It's
my
the land of
find my freedom.
opportunity. Yeah.
Oh, oh, oh. Remember me coming from Poland, from communist country, when I moved here, when I saw everything else. Like, remember, I went to the store, I see like all the shelves are full, bananas. Like, to me, it was like I'm dreaming. There is a heaven on earth, and it was an unbelievable experience. But it's funny that, I'm so grateful, and I appreciate, even after living here for now 31 years, it's just every moment I'm grateful where I'm at right now. Even
Yeah.
though my country changed enormously, Poland is now amazing country, and everything is like gorgeous and new, and we are growing, and everything is amazing. But this is my home now.
Yeah.
You know.
So
So
so I'm a little bit older than you. I'm 84. I turned 84 2 weeks ago, actually, and then I was born in
happy
Holland.
birthday.
Well, thank you. I was
Okay.
born in Holland in
Okay.
1940 and November
Mm-hmm.
1940, November the
Mm-hmm.
1st. And so I remember the war years and saw far too much that I should not have seen. And then we were liberated by the Canadian Army as part of the, the uh, Allied forces that liberated Europe from Hitler and the Germans in 1945. So the northeastern Holland, close to the border, you
Mm-hmm.
maybe can visualize it. We were living within 15 minutes from the German border, the extreme northeastern part of Holland. And
Okay.
so we were liberated by the Canadian Army April the 12th, 1945. And it made such an impression on me that from the time that I was 5 years old, I knew I would go to the land of my heroes, Canada. And so I tried to go when I was 17, and then my parents wouldn't let me, too young. And then I was drafted into the Dutch Air Force for 2 years. And then I left for Canada in 1965, and I was 23 years old, with a suitcase, 3 books, 2 sets of clothes, and couldn't speak the language, didn't know a soul, didn't have a job. And
Yeah.
so, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to build a lumber mill, and and so as you likely know, in Canada, there is lots of timber all around, but most of the forest industry at the time was in British Columbia. And so I flew into Montreal, took the train across Canada, 4 days, 5 nights. My God, it's a big country. And then landed in, or the bus or the train arrived in Vancouver. I went to the post office, sorry, the immigration office. Don't worry about the dog, it doesn't bother us. And
Okay.
went to the immigration office, and I could speak the English, and so there was a German fellow, and I told him what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to build a lumber mill. He said, "Go to Prince George." That's, as I already said earlier, 500 miles or 800 kilometers north, and so that's where I am today, 60 years later. I can still see the area where the Greyhound station is. And so I came off the bus here and couldn't speak the language, didn't know a soul, didn't have a job. And
Mm-hmm.
with my suitcase, my 3 books, 2 sets of clothes, and I counted my money at least 3 times. I had $25.47. But what I did have, positive attitude. I always avoid negative. I already did that from a child forward. I'm always positive. Passion. Whatever I do, I give it 125%. And work ethic, even today at 84, I work harder than anybody. I get up at 5:30 in the morning. I always make my bed, and I'm always in a hurry. And so I had my dream. I
You're not
started.
giving me hope, man. Because
I
I'm
started.
52 and I don't stop either.
I.
You're
I.
not giving me hope.
So I started with nothing as a cleanup man, lumber pilot, and then with a year and a half, I was a superintendent of one of the larger mills here. But that didn't go quick enough for me, so I wanted to build a lumber mill. So I went to a place where I became part owner of a lumber mill after I being here for 2 years. And but the condition was I had to work there for 5 years, and then I would get 1/3 interest. So, John, where was that lumber mill? It was in Watson Lake, Yukon. Now, you know already where the Yukon is. It is east of Alaska. So it's in the northern part. So it's about 1,000 miles north of Vancouver.
Mhm.
And so it's a place where in the wintertime, growing up in Holland, we had winter, but what we had, but usually I would say the climate in Holland is that the rain is colder in the wintertime. What I saw
Yeah.
in Watson Lake is I saw 62 below zero. Now that's cold. I was there for 5 years, came back to Prince George, long story, and then from there and then, yes, I did get my mill. So today we have, and I'm a sole owner of all my companies. I have four silos. The one silo is lumber manufacturing. I have a number of mills. The second silo is warehousing and distribution and logistics. We're probably the largest warehousing company in northern British Columbia. The other one is real estate, residential, commercial, and industrial. And the fourth silo is media. And I'm an author. I'm working on my sixth book. And then obviously I'm very active
Congratulations.
in podcasting. We top one of the top 1% globally. And then I'm a presenter around the country. I do a fair amount of that. And then the other one is I'm working on a platform. So that kind of gives you an idea of where I come from, in a lot of ways the same as you did. Started with nothing, saw the opportunity, and then gradually moved forward. I was a bit slower than you, but still, that I started my companies, the Brink group of companies, is Brink Forest Products, after I had been here for 10 years, and then gradually worked my way towards that, and then from there, and then we have in the silos. There are challenges along the way, but every one of them is very active, and I'm still, even at my age, still intent to double our companies and the silos in the next 5 to 10 years. So that's
Awesome.
kind of it. And then the other thing that I do, I know you're an author too. I just give you one of the
Yeah.
books that I did because that's important to me, and as it is to you. I'm very much into health and fitness. I The last one that I wrote is Living Young, Dying Old. That's a picture of me actually. I'm the oldest competitive bodybuilder in North America, and but I'm very much into health and fitness. And then, as you already indicated, it's the land of opportunity. And then, then especially if you came from the other side, whereas you already indicated, I grew up during the war years. Still, as kids, I had a brother and sister. We used to go at 4 or 5 years old every morning during the occupation of the Germans. We would go with gunny sacks into the railroad yards and pick up anything edible and burnable. So that's kind of the background that I came from. And then, obviously, as you did, is that when I came here, it's the land of opportunity. The key
Yep.
is that how do you phase it? How can you go forward, but don't go too quick and then get into trouble. So you have to go gradually, but uh, you know, you have to
I
recognize that
think
that's probably where I had a
I think
benefit. Yeah,
I think you touching a lot because what happened is it doesn't matter when you end up if you don't take care of this, your body, mentally, emotionally, and physically. There's nothing. I mean, you can be on the top of you cannot take care of it. It really starts with us. And then what happened is because the life happens from inside out, not from outside in. And
correct.
what happened because you like you said, you always like concentrate on the health and your body and everything else. Our health, the mental, emotional, and fitness is everything because then what happened, we can make a decision, we can find opportunities, and then we are so focused that we see this stuff. And the most important, like you said, you're 84, I'm 52. We have energy. I can do Ironman without training. You know what I mean? Because it's like how we take care of our body. And I always tell, like the way we take care of our body is gonna tell us how it's gonna be the rest of our lives. Because I know before I die, I mean, unless there's an accident. But my goal is to live 120, 130 with all the stuff that's going on. But I'm very, very careful what I put in my body. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't take painkillers. I eat healthy. I just like, whatever it's like, I don't put any processed food, any bread, any pasta. So it's like no sugars. So, I mean, it's everything. So then what happens is everything outside we can go and choose and pick. And with the age, we get a lot wiser. And because our brain connect with our soul and our heart, we a lot open to abundance and opportunity.
Yeah.
So
So
I'm great. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that we have this conversation.
yeah. So I believe you said, Jarek, you are 42, correct?
52.
52. So yeah. So
52.
you're 32 years younger than me. So you started
Yes.
early to being aware of your body. And I feel very strongly about it. My wife is a vegetarian, but I must honestly admit that I was not as sensitive to and didn't listen as well to her as I could have. And then somewhere in life, all of a sudden, something happens that gave me a shock, and that was already and when I was 68 years old, I had a case of diverticulitis. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not. It's
No.
on the right side of your body. If you have pain, it's probably your appendix. I'm not a doc, but on the left side is your
Mhm.
colon. And so I didn't know what it was either until I did, but where it ruptured the colon, and then toxins start attacking your body, and then you have a limited amount of time to get something done about it. And so I came that close. And so the doc said, after they did the operation, took 20 centimeters out of my colon, and he said, you came this close. And then I knew I had to become more serious about fitness, health, diet, exercise. And so starting at the age of 59, 1 year after I recovered from that, I started looking carefully at our diet, listened to my wife more, became a vegan. Then the other part that I did, I was before, just like a lot of other people that I knew, that what we do at the end of the year, we say we're going to do this, that, and this and that. And then the other thing that we're going to do, we buy a membership to the gym, and then 2 weeks later, we can
Mhm.
find 100 reasons why we're too busy to go to the gym. And so, what I had to do, because my life is as yours, is it's always meetings to meetings to other meetings. So I had to get a trainer, and I did that. And I started with that in 1959, and started going to the gym as the trainer, started taking care of my body and understanding it. And then, after training for about intensely for about, because I take it very serious, for about 5, 6 years, somebody came up and say, "Hey, John, have you ever thought about competing?" And I said, "Me? Really? Yeah." And so I started competing, first locally, regionally, and came in second in bodybuilding, third in physique. That qualified me for the provincials. There again, the same. Then that qualified me for the nationals and for the Arnolds. And then COVID came, and now I'm training again for the Arnolds in 2025 at 85.
Nice.
And I'm the oldest competitive bodybuilder in North America. So, but first and foremost, what is important, what I did at a later age, and that's why I explain it a lot of times, because a lot of friends that I have, I'm sure that you have been very conscientious about diet and fitness, but a lot of people, even if they're into their 40s or 50s, they say, I'm too old for that now. And
No,
so
no.
I'm the
It's
example of where I started this when I was 59. And today, and as I showed you the picture, no, you're never too old, but understanding it is critically important, because the quality of life, especially the last decade, most of the people getting hands full of pills that are toxic to one
exactly.
part of your body,
Yeah.
maybe fix another one. And so the quality of life becomes critical. And even today, as I do and as you do, is that I get up early in the morning. I'm full of energy. I can still run circles around most of the people around me, and that I know. And I have still lots of energy going forward. I'm busy with companies and all the other, but I'm keenly aware of that. The foundation is mental fitness, physical fitness, exercise, understanding it. And then, as you do, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do alcohol, and blah, 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 all the other kind of things. The other parts that I do is that I'm aware there's so much information out there, but I try to get lots of sunshine, like vitamin D. I like to get 8 to 9 hours sleep a day. I
It's a
like to
must.
really
It's a must.
watch my diet, and then I get exercise, and that's kind of what I do. And so sleeping, I probably between 7 and 8, usually where I'm at, but it's extremely important, especially if you get older.
Yeah, when I was younger, I took a sleep for granted. I'm gonna sleep in a grave. But I realize now how important sleep is. For me, sleep is everything. But it's what I always tell people: it's never too late for even for financial freedom. It's never too late. The same thing for like for the fitness. For it's like wow, I never went to the gym. I'm 50. I'm 60. There's no difference. Like what I mean. My parents. I have 5 kids. I told them like you guys never gonna outrun me because I will never stop. My parents are 84 and 82 right now, and it's like I just want to make sure. My I just lost both of my grandparents at 98. So we have a longevity in my genes.
Genetic, yeah.
So it's so genetic. So I want to live like long, but remember, it's about the quality. It's not about quantity because I don't want to live 120 and be in the bed and be stuck to that. I want to have the energy like you, and it's like my goal long. I'm only 52. I know at 80 I'm gonna do Ironman. You know what I mean? So I just like, you 85, you're gonna be competing next year again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's never stops. It never stops. And even I'm a lot younger than you. I understand. But at the end of the day, it's our mindset. It's our mindset and we recharge and we work on it all the time. So
Exactly. And the key, Jarek, as you well know, is it's not the number of 84,
no,
85. It is
no.
quality of life that is the critical
Hmm.
part. And all the other things then that we do, as you do, as I do, is building companies and seeing opportunity and all of that. I've been doing that for the last 50 years. When I started my primary holding company is the Brink group of companies, and I'm still full of energy watching the economy, which is interesting, and maybe we'll talk about that a little bit as well as to where things are. Interest rates are starting to come down. Opportunity is there. Interesting politically what is happening around the world. Obviously,
Hmm.
if I look at Europe, the Ukraine in particular, and you were next door to them, but I'm always watching this very, very closely. And Russia is of concern, obviously, and then the Middle East. And then I look here in North America, both we do a lot of business in the United States and Canada, but every time I fly around commercially, I sit by the window of the plane and I say, it's paradise. It is
Yep.
paradise. And so,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't realize that if there is war, that when the war is over, everything goes back to normal, which it doesn't. It goes on in some cases for generations. And I certainly know that from me, PTSD, the inner child, and a number of other things as a result of war and war related families and going through all the struggles. I appreciate, as you do, the United States. I appreciate Canada and North America, both the U.S. and Canada, very much. It's paradise and a land of opportunities.
Yeah. We take freedom for granted. But I always tell people, like, go to hospital. You're gonna appreciate, like, when I had my ski accident, I was 6 months in the hospital, 13 surgeries, almost lost my life. When I end up in a hospital around people, then I appreciate my health, and I was always grateful for everything I had. But I never say thank you to my body. For the last 8 years, every morning, when I pray to God, and I also just appreciate take my body for being for heart pounding. Same thing, freedom, go to jail, end up in jail. And then we take the freedom for granted because what I mean, we have it, you know, and it's very important. And what I'm really impressed, like that the reason it's like when you still thriving at age of 85, it's a growing company and you still have goals. I think it's the fulfillment and the purpose because we can take care of ourselves emotionally, mentally, physically, but if we don't have a purpose, we don't have a fulfillment, there's nothing. Then it's like how many times you want me to the gym, you there's other stuff that the connections with other people, the meetings. It's like we don't need to do this stuff, we don't,
No.
but that's what fulfills us, serving others. When I was younger, I did not appreciate. Like I thought, like I was expecting everything from life. Now I just want to give it to life, and that's what gives us the purpose and fulfillment. You
E-
know, and
Exactly.
it's amazing. So,
Now, the other thing that you're doing, you're working on a book,
hmm
and obviously I have
no,
done that.
I just finished one book. That's
I like
see
it.
like
Not
not
enough.
not enoughness,
Not
not enoughness,
enoughness.
not enoughness. The gift and the curse. A
Yes.
gift. So that's like and my other book's gonna be not enoughness, but instead of the gift and the curse, it's gonna be the inner wealth versus outer wealth. So
So,
you know,
but I know from my experience, my first book that I wrote is this one here, Against All Odds. And
love it.
and it's not easy writing books. And so for me, a lot of people said to me, "Oh, John, you should be writing a book because for years and years and years and years." And so I used to start, stop, and then I knew 6, 7 years from now ago that if I don't do it now, it won't happen. So I started doing that. So it took me 80 years to live it, 20 years to think about it, 2 years to write it, and and so and I like it. And then the other thing that I wrote a second book, and this is throwing something else into the mix. Academically, I was not overly successful. In Holland, I failed grade 3 and I failed grade 7 3 times. And it took me years to find out as to why am I different than a lot of the other people. And at 13, I was already a laborer in Holland. And it's kind of looked down on by my friends that went on to college and university. And then
hmm
much later, I found out I had ADHD. And I wrote a book about that, ADHD Unlocked. And I call it a superpower. And so I wrote about that. I speak about that, and so and it's one of the a very popular
Oh
book
my God, John,
globally.
we have way too much. We have way too much in common, John. Way too much in common. I find out I have a high level of ADHD when my son got tested. I was like, oh, that's the problem I have. I cannot stay put. But what happens is when we find the focus, when we find something, we use all the time. Like you use the word 125. I use 120. I do everything 120.
Yeah.
Everything I touch or I don't touch. But that's how we are hyper focused, and we got it. Like I know I have a like ADHD, and I have a high also addictive personality. You know what I mean? That's why, let's say, if I drink or I do drugs or I don't exercise, I eat shitty food. I know I will overdo it with everything. So I use my addictions and I use my ADHD for the good. You know what I mean? So it's like that's what I'm going. That's what I'm driving, and I'm gonna help, and that's what the more I help, the more I serve, and I feel fulfilled.
Now,
That's funny. You just
what you may find interesting is, Jarek, is that I had no idea. I had never even heard of it. But so what happened here is that I already was here. I came here in 1965, July 1965. In 1997, I walked into a store. I was already here for 32 years. And I walked into a store here in Prince George, and I picked up a book. I still don't know why I did, and I still have the book that I picked up. The book was written by Dr. Halliwell in 1993. I picked it up in
Mhm.
1997. The title of the book is Driven to Distraction, and Dr. Halliwell wrote 18 books, 5 on distraction. He is a medical doctor, professor, ADHD and dyslexia. And so when I started looking at the book in the store, I had never heard of ADHD. And
Can you
so,
put the book up? I'll take a picture. Can you
yeah,
put the book up?
yeah.
Thank you. Oh,
So,
perfect.
so and I had never heard of ADHD, and so and so what I did, this book, this is the book that I picked up. I wrote in the
Uh-huh.
book in Dutch because I was ashamed of it because it implied that it'd be a mental disorder. So I wrote in it January 1997. And so the more I found out about it, the more I became to the conclusion that ADHD, it's a benefit in a lot of ways, but not very well understood. And maybe 8 to 10% of the population have it. Now, the other thing that I did, this you find this very interesting. You are my podcast number 355. But if you go back to podcast number 203, On the Brink for Our Guest Watching podcast, it is an interview with Dr. Halliwell. And and
Wow.
so and and so I suggested to Dr. Halliwell, and he's the expert, not me, other than I lived
Yeah.
it, that I believe that more than 20% of the population ADHD. He said, no, John, more than 25%. I agree with him. The other thing that I found, and all the time that I've been around in business, I'm on board of
Mhm.
directors, and I'll do all the other stuff. I'm meeting a lot of successful entrepreneurs and business people, and I suggest to Dr. Halliwell, and that, in my opinion, 50% of the successful, and the operative is successful, entrepreneurs are ADHD. He said, no, John, more than 75%. And I agree with him. And
We
so,
hyper focus. Yeah. We hyper focus.
and, and so, so the more I found out about it, the more I felt I had an obligation to become more vocal about it. I do that in my
Mhm.
podcasting, not exclusively. I talk about industry, business, and all the other kind of things. But so then I felt I had to write a book about it, and that's what I did. So I'm going to send you a copy of all my books, Jarek. I'm going to sign them for
Thank
you,
you.
and then once you give Scott your address, then I sign them for you and then send them all to you.
Nice.
So,
Thank you. Thank you. I
uh,
appreciate that.
in any event, so that's kind of that changed my life. But it was in 1997 that I had the book. I was already, then 57 years old, and so then it took me 5 years before I went to my doc, who was delivered our two daughters, and was a personal friend, and and he said, "Hey, John, why are you here?" And I said, "I think I got ADHD." And we checked it out, and yes, I do. So that's how long it took me. So from the time that, to put this into perspective, that I was 13 years old when I left school, and they said, "Oh, he's dumb, and he's this, he should go to the school of the mentally challenged individuals." And they said, "No, we're not going to do that. We're going to get it." So it took till I was 62, nearly 50 years, before I realized, by pure coincidence, picking up this book, I'd never even heard about ADHD, and saying, "Oh my God, that's me." And so I feel that I have an obligation to share it with people. I do that on my podcasting, wherever appropriate. I do that in writing, and if I give
Mhm.
presentations. I did a presentation, you find this interesting. a couple hundred people or so. I forget now what it was, but and I usually throw in ADHD, and so then I usually ask people how many around the room have ADHD, and a number of hands go up, blah blah blah, and then and say who believe that they do but never talked about it. Some more go up, and by the time I'm done with my presentation, I'm a very good presenter. Then a lot of people are saying, damn, I wish I had it too.
Yep.
So
I think a
that's
lot of
kind of the
a lot
breakdown.
of a lot of successful people have that. A lot of successful people that I surround myself with, and it's in and you can immediately see it. But I think the mostly is the hyper focus. You know what I mean? How we are like, we're jumping all over the place, but we need people. Like, we have a vision, and we need people to kind of put us in a truck. Hey, got it. We are right here. And I'm like, I found very quickly destruction. You know what I mean? And it's like, just I have, I put myself on, on the right direction, that I'm going the right, but we jumping, but being aware of it and having knowledge and read about it and educate yourself about it is gonna make you even stronger, because then we like, like especially me, and you wrote the book, so when you write something, when you do, when you teach, and when you talk about it, you become even better. That's like the best tool that we have. Like, this is my highest tool. You know what I mean? If I grab something, like people know, like people do not interrupt me, because the attic won't get distracted. It's just it's all in, or nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I started going, like, when I start doing the social media, start doing my book, and starting to the stages, my office is like, oh, we're losing Yarek again. He's gonna go now all in with this stuff, and but at least everybody's aware of it, because my business is on autopilot. You know what I mean? But it took me years to get there. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So, yeah.
So the
Well,
advantage that
yeah.
I believe that I have, the I was always good at numbers, even when I was not successful in grade 3 and grade 7, but I was always good at numbers. And the other one is I'm a good writer, but not a good reader because dyslexia and ADHD. And so, but the other benefit that I have is that I believe I'm a visionary looking forward. So I look forward 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So that's where
Yeah,
I'm
I get
going.
it. I tell you that this, yeah, because we are visionaries. I mean, but I tell you the secret. I did not like to read, and because I have 5 kids, my kids always hear me audiobooks. So my kids always thought that I'm doing something on their phone, like listening to the music. And because I want my kids to read, because I see reading is everything. You know what I mean? You can go, like, I'm thinking, you have to go to, you have to self improve. You have to always get better and better, right? And instead of going to seminars, spending, let's say, flight on the ticket, spending $200 on the ticket, spending $500 on seminar, you can pick the book, and really get a lot of knowledge out of it in your own comfort, in your own room, your own bed, in your own backyard. And I'm like, I gotta teach my kids, but yet I'm not reading. Even Bible, I was listening to Bible. So because of that, I start reading, and it bothers hell out of me, John. Like hell out. Like, I don't want to read. I want to, because I want to do different things. I want to listen in the car. And I'm telling you, after, like, few years, it just like it becomes like addicted. Like, it's normal now, and I can read like 12 books at the same time.
Right,
Wherever I'm sitting, I have a different book. You know what I mean?
right.
And it's the best. And there's like the books are written 2,000 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, and it's still true.
Yeah,
And learning other people' perspective, and being stuck in the book, like we have the, like, how we are focused, like being stuck in the book, you don't want to put the book away.
exactly.
It's the best thing, I think this is the best education. And
Yeah,
it's free. With the access to the internet right now, we can be our own teachers, we can be our own doctors, we can be everything else as well. We live in the best generation ever.
yeah, no
We are
question.
so the best.
Yeah.
And we have access to absolutely everything. Like,
Now,
look at, you've been through the wars, through, like, our parents went through, what you went through.
right.
And now we got everything, like, at the palm, like right there, like
Yeah,
whatever you want, it's right here.
yeah. Now, the other part that has been amazing, in my opinion, Jarek, is podcasting. Because can you imagine? There you are in Florida, I believe now, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yes, I
So
am.
can you imagine? There you're sitting on the southeastern corner of the United States, where I'm sitting in
And
the
you're completely on the other
northwestern
side.
side,
You.
and there we're sitting here like you're sitting on the couch here and I'm sitting here. That's how I started about 5 6 years ago. I started blogging first, and then started discussions between different people. It was not called podcasting then. And then started working with a local television station and doing some fill-ins, doing some interviews. And then from there on in, COVID happened, and obviously we couldn't do that anymore. And I had this apartment here, as an investment in Prince George, and I was not using it, and saying, well, let's turn it into a
Studio.
studio. And so we did that, get cameras, and then do interviewing. And as you can see, I have a couch sitting here and one here. Usually I sit on that couch. I have a guest sitting here, local ones. And then we did that for a while, and then we were running out of guests. Although there's lots of interesting people here, and I said, well, maybe what I have to do, set up another studio in Vancouver. But then the more watching television, especially CNN, ABC, and all of those international stations, and I watched them, and there's one, two, three, four different people all speaking at the same time and saying, maybe what we have to do is go virtual. And so we started doing that about 3 4 5 years ago. And then, can you imagine? And now virtual interaction is perfect now. It's smooth, not interrupting a lot of stuff. So it is like you are sitting across from me, and we are podcasting globally. I may talk to somebody from Australia this morning, this afternoon, maybe somebody from Greece or Athens or Florida or
Yeah.
whatever, or South America. So, and it's just only at its beginning. But that's the one part. But then to bring, can you imagine this? To bring two entrepreneurs together who started with nothing in Europe, and then saw opportunity that, and then very quickly, relatively speaking, became successful. And that's an inspiration for a lot of people in terms of not only in terms of business success, but also physical fitness, mental fitness, and putting it into perspective. Because business is not important, money is not important if you do not have health, mental, physical health. Your body immensely forgiving, but it will only take so much abuse, and it will usually show up in the most important part of your life, the last decade. And it doesn't have to be that way. You started young, but I'm a picture of somebody that started late, and I was lucky that I was still pretty much okay, and was able to still be in good shape now, and fit. But the earlier somebody, male, female, starts thinking in terms of their health, the more important. If I do all the shopping for my wife, who's a vegetarian, and myself, I go to the grocery store, I go to the outside of the store. Inside the outside is because I'm not interested in processed food that is in the center aisles, super processed, because I don't know what is in it. And so we want to
Yeah,
make sure it's
exactly.
organic, that we know what is in it, and then do the other things in terms of sleep, physical health. And you don't have to become an Olympian or a bodybuilder like me, but at least, you know, try to go walk half an hour, find a partner, and then do a little bit more, and then be careful with your diet. And you know what will happen? They will say, "Hey, Jarek or John, you're looking good. What are you doing?" And then you see the results, and you stay the course, and then it becomes a way of life, as it is for you and me. Having eating carefully and a diet that is good for me, it's becoming very tasteful. There's no reason. It's not like medicine. It's a way of life. And going to the gym or staying fit is for me. I like it. Will go out of my way to go because I enjoy it. And once you do that and you see the rewards, and especially as you get older, like in my case, at 84, then age is not a limit, but it makes a difference to your life.
Yes, it does. John, you inspire me. I'm like, I thought after 70, 80, I'm gonna slow down, but I'm already talking to you. I know I will never slow down.
I'm going to be
So,
120, Derek.
yes. Oh my God. There's, I thought there's a hope. I'm like, no, no, John, if you don't slow down, I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna slow down either then.
So you probably thought when we got this podcast going, is saying, well, this guy is probably a businessman, so it's going to be an interesting way talking about money and blah 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 and all the other things. We
No,
never got there, but
I,
it's someday
John,
maybe.
I never want to talk about money. To me, like emotional health, physical health, mental health. It's like to me, it's like physical. It's like everything. The
Exactly.
financial help it just comes, but it really starts first within us. And it's funny, I don't have many people to follow, so I have to work on myself in order to to go to the next level and the next level. And I never compete with anybody.
Right.
The biggest competition it was me.
Yeah.
It was always me.
Right.
And it's funny you say like now I was an athlete when I was young, but then when I was in the business, when I was chasing everything, I forgot about the health.
Yeah.
I was, when I started losing weight, I bought my first belt. My not I'm sorry, not a belt. My first jeans was like size 42,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing this. This was my, like a threshold. It's like I'm not doing this, and I just, went to work and took care of it. But it's sometimes like we have to go through the stages in life,
Right.
and the older we get, the wiser we get, and we're
Exactly.
like, why didn't I do this? But it's the best day. I always tell people the best day to invest is today. You want to
Yeah.
buy real estate? Do it today. You
Yeah.
want to start investing? Start investing with yourself. And when is the best time? Today.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
I'm too old. I'm too young. Nope. Today is the day.
Exactly.
That's it.
And if you dream,
Yeah,
dream
and that's
big,
it.
right?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. 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 Seriously.
So
And it's funny. I say it, and it's like, hey, and I don't care about the no sayers that they got me, but whatever, dude. It's like, yeah, whatever. I gotta just put my, put everything in me. So I own it. So it's in my DNA, and it's not fake it until you make it. That's not how it works.
right.
The self talk is everything because the
Exactly.
self-talk is because we are the one that spend the most time with ourselves for the rest of our life. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? And that's how we talk to ourselves. That's how we talk to others. When we cheat to ourselves, when we cheat on the diet, when we cheat on the workout, when we cheat on something we're supposed to do, to ourselves, we cheat on others too.
Exactly.
I don't negotiate with myself, but that's why
Exactly.
you don't want to negotiate with me on the business side, John. Believe me,
Right.
because I don't break my own promises.
Right.
You know, so.
So, Derek, you did the one book now. Are you working on another one?
Yeah, I'm working on my second book. Now,
So,
wow, you got five. I'm not now. I'm gonna chase you, man. I'm chasing you.
I'm going to send you mine. I'm going to sign them for you, and we'll get them out
I
of the.
appreciate that.
Yeah. So send me a copy of yours as well.
I
So
will do it as well. Then. Yes.
so the other anything else that comes to mind, Jarek? What I like about podcasting is you never know. So I've done quite a few podcasts, and I'm hosting probably 355, and then I'm a guest. Probably have been on another 150, 160, but I never know what will happen. And but I really
That's what I
really
love.
enjoy it.
Yes. Thank you. Well, that's the best part of it. But you also, John, we also like, I love this, like, through the internet so because we can connect with people around the world. And now, like, even the economy, everything is global. And people, like, when my father was in the United States in 1980, we have to wait 2, 3 days for the phone call. And the phone call was like 5 minutes phone call. and we waited. We have to go to the post office. Well, I know you remember those
I
times,
know.
but you're a lot older than me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 3 days. Oh my God, my dad is gone. And now, like you said, it's at the click, and you can talk to anybody. And
iPhones,
I'm
just push. See, when I came here in
yeah,
1965, I would send a telegram to my parents. Hi, I'm doing okay. Stop. I found a job piling lumber or being a cleanup man. Stop. I'm making $2 an hour. I'm all excited. Blop. Stop. Everything else is okay. And so that's what it was. Now I
and look
take
at where
my
we're living
iPhone, I
now.
push the button, I talk to somebody in Europe.
Yeah.
No problem.
And now look at it. We are 3,500 miles, 35,
And it feels
3,500
like, Jarek, it feels like you're sitting
next to
next to me, and that in this
exactly.
1 hour we developed a friendship.
Yes, John.
Can
Thank
you
you.
believe it?
I appreciate it.
And
Yeah, I believe it. That's what
and we'll stay in
I believe
touch.
it. Yes, John. Definitely.
Jarek, it was a privilege and a pleasure to have you on my show. I'm going to send out the books. And for all those people watching us from around the world about entrepreneurship, but all the other things that are even more important is health and fitness that have been watching us, subscribe to a podcast, both Jarek's and mine, and share it with others and like it and make comments if you wish. Now, Jarek, have you got a podcast that, or have you got a contact point that people can contact if they want to be interacting with you?
The best way to find me my on the Instagram, Tadla Jarek, on the Instagram, or just my website, my books, my YouTube channel, Jarek Tadla, and my first name and last name. And it's easy to find out everybody, John. It's like so easy. You just put the name. This is it. It's like everybody's connecting, and that's what I also love, it, John. That we like really the stuff that you do. You're helping so many people. That's what is that we're serving right now, and it's like the connection. It's like people from India, people from from Australia, from New Zealand, from Canada, from United States, and it's like
All over the world.
all over from Europe. It's in a one click, a one connection.
And it's
So
growing
I appreciate it.
immensely. It's just, this is the new media. It's not newspapers, it's not the news. This is the
No,
new
nobody's looking.
media. It's moving
No,
forward.
yes, yeah. So when did you
Jarek,
read the newspaper last time?
absolutely. Jarek, it was a pleasure and a privilege. Let's stay in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, John. I
Take care.
appreciate you. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye bye.